Explore what do category managers and strategic sourcing teams utilize at work to achieve profit margin and process efficiency. This 7-minute video will spell out the 5 phases and 7 steps of strategic sourcing and its essential elements. You will learn structured approach and the right methodology for your next project. Let's start.
Hi, thanks for subscribing this module, the overview for strategic sourcing. After the module, you will understand the 5 phases and the 7 steps in strategic sourcing. We will also discuss some of the essential guidelines in each phases. Let's get started. The 5 phases are define, analyze, design, execute, and manage, where each phases further break down to steps. Under define phase, we include the step 0, build business case. It aims to outline the initial project and plan. It is important as your project shall be reviewed with the key stakeholder to determine the viability of the project. Next, analyze phase, where we have 3 essential steps: spend analysis, understanding customer requirements, and market intelligence. These steps are interchangeable, though you shall not proceed to the next phase without going through all 3 steps. Once we have gathered the right information through the previous phases, we can now move on to the design phase, or step 4, strategy development. This is crucial as we will utilize information gathered earlier and build the project direction using a field methodology. Execute phase consists of both step 5 and 6, tender and negotiations, and contract implementation. We will learn the standard sourcing process here. Once we have put all in action, we will finally manage and start tracking the performance, which is the last phase and last step. Let's dive deeper into each phases. Per the famous saying, failing to prepare means preparing to fail. In defined phase, we will review the proposed project with our customer or sourcing manager to determine the viability and priority of the potential opportunity. A project charter is recommended once the proposal is approved. It shall consist general info about the 7 steps to solidify the opportunity. You may view an example of project charter at the end of module. Moving on to analyze phase. The 3-step sequence are interchangeable. There is no right or wrong to begin or end with either one step. Typically, people begin with spend analysis, followed by understanding customer requirement, then market intelligence. Under spend analysis, you must make sure the right information is gathered and analyzed to ease you finding the potential improvement and savings opportunities. Typically, this information may be collected from historical purchase record, contract agreements, or from customers and suppliers. Once this data is ready, schedule an appointment with your customer to validate your findings. It is important to understand the future business needs too, or your hard work means nothing if there is no future requirement. You shall take this opportunity to raise challenge for internal improvement plans such as dissecting the total cost of ownership. Last but not least, market analysis. It is a structured, fact-based approach to develop strategies that match internal business requirements with market capabilities. You may begin your research by interviewing your suppliers, web search, or forums. You should adopt a structured approach to record your findings too, such as value chain analysis, Porter's 5 forces, or SWOT. In design phase, you will compile all the information in analyze phase and identify strategies that adds value to your project. Those added value elements could be better total cost of ownership, lead time, risk mitigation, cost reduction, etc. You should dissect your project to understand the sourcing objective, which will lead you to the right strategy selection. There are many strategies you can adopt, and there's no limit of how many you could use. You should manage the strategies by putting a practical timeline for execution. Under execute phase, we must work on step 5, tender and negotiation first. Depending on your project needs, You may choose different information exchange methods to begin your survey with the suppliers. There are different naming in this stage. Some may call it invitation to bid, ITB, invitation to tender, ITT, request for quotation, RFQ, etc. However, all serve one purpose: help you to gather the required information for your project. Note: you are required to choose the right methodology according to your project timeline as well. For instance, RFI, or Request for Information here. It can be adopted if you have scarce information about your project. You can request the suppliers to submit information to help you defining your project. It is also recommended to discuss your entire tender evaluation together with your stakeholder. Negotiation. It is one of the most exciting process. You may often receive voluntarily participation from your stakeholders. However, supplier negotiation requires a complete understanding of market and internal company factors in order to influence the supplier. Hence, preparation is the key here. These are some of the information needed before you do your negotiation. A negotiation template is recommended to record all your findings that help you in the negotiation. It may include elements to be discussed, power of supplier versus buyer, sequence to discuss, and more. We will discuss in detail in negotiation module. Up next in the execute phase, step 6, contract implementation. Once you have completed the tender and negotiation, it is time to make the final decision. The awarded supplier shall be both commercially and technically attractive as compared to the baseline or budget. You should also contact both successful and unsuccessful suppliers to provide feedbacks of the selection. Implementation plan is required to ensure smooth transition to the awarded supplier, as well as the contract negotiation for risk mitigation. Moving on to the last phase, managed phase, or step 7, performance tracking. Remember, your project does not end when you sign the contract. You should always remember to track the awarded supplier performance to ensure your strategy is well implemented. Key performance index is recommended to ensure all are intact. Also, a periodic preview should be done as well to validate the right performance requirement. Congratulations! We have finished the overview for strategic sourcing. This is a special slide dedicated for relationship management. Nothing can proceed smoothly without all parties' effort. Relationship is always the key index, and this needs to be implemented in all phases and all steps. Now, this overview module does not do justice for strategic sourcing. A comprehensive version is on the way. Remember to check my space for latest update. Meanwhile, feel free to contact me for classroom training in Klang Valley area. Thank you.